Luis, encantada de tenerle aquí, francamente.
Igualmente, ¿lo vamos a tener en español o?
Sí, un catalán mejor, ¿no? No, I think we better speak English for the audience. So let's talk a little bit about the economy. What we're seeing is ongoing demand, but there's also a feeling that it's beginning to slow. JP Morgan Chase CEO said recently, storm clouds that we have been monitoring for the past year remain on the horizon, and the banking industry turmoil adds to these risks. If you apply that to travel, what are you thinking?
I mean, look, we have been prudent about the prospects because of this economic environment, but the reality is that the demand has been extremely strong. If we see 1.5 years ago, I mean, at the beginning of last year, we had Omicron. We were having figures in the minus 60%, and we are very close to be back in terms of traffic. I mean, you have seen the latest information from IATA. Domestic traffic is back.
Yep.
And international traffic not far, but still some way to go. And this proves, again, the resiliency of travel, the willingness of people to travel, despite all the noise that we hear about, if people will come back to travel after COVID and what is going to happen with business travel. So we see a strong demand, and the prospects are good. Saying that, of course, we are living in this world where the economic situation is a bit uncertain. But still, we see that things are evolving in a positive way. So hopefully this will continue in the coming months.
Now, that kind of demand, does that put pressure on the systems, the technology, the fact that you're trying to move to the cloud, introduce NDC developments? What kind of pressure does that put on those kind of technological developments that you're trying to do?
We keep investing a lot in technology. Even at the times of COVID, we had to adjust a little bit our roadmap, our investments, but we kept investing in the key projects, and cloud was one of them, and NDC was another one. Technology is continuously evolving, as we all know well, and the company needs to really be up to date, to really evolve at the same speed. So the current demand is not putting additional pressure, it's just more the needs of the traveler, the fact that technology is evolving, and as a company we need to keep investing. I mean, we invested last year almost 1 billion in technology, and we will keep doing that because that's part of the core of what the company is able to deliver.
And I mean, with NDC, we've been talking about it for 10 years now. We're beginning to see some traction. Do you think we've learned anything so far?
Yeah, I mean, NDC is another evolution. The GDSs have evolved a lot during the last 30 years. If you see how the GDSs were operating, at the beginning and what they do today in terms of investments and capabilities, this has evolved a lot. NDC is opening a new wall of retailing capabilities and personalization, and as a new technology, we have been pretty close to that and supporting this evolution. There will be something else coming in the future. And with NDC, we have already signed 40 customers for our direct channel for our IT, and we have 30 customers for the distribution. And present already in 140 countries. So it has taken time because the standards were not completely clear, because at the beginning, I mean, it takes time to really evolve, but I strongly believe that the GDSs are in a very strong position and a very good position to integrate the different technologies and the content coming from EDIFACT and NDC and support this transition in a way that is economically viable for everyone in the industry. So NDC is a good evolution, hopefully will allow better personalization and better service to the traveler, and we will support that moving forward as we have done in the last years.
And you yourself have said during your earnings that you don't see it being in the short term a lot of traction. There are things that are happening that are moving the needle a little, but what do you think needs to happen to really kind of move the needle?
I mean, like any technology, I mean, usually when there is a new technology or a new evolution, it creates a lot of noise. It has an impact in the long term, but in the short term, things are usually take more time than planned at the beginning. And this has happened again with NDC. I mean, it was a process of evolving a process of getting the right standards in place and also getting the use to this new technology to optimize in a way that could represent a value for the different players in the channel. I mean, things are evolving progressively, but as I said, it takes time. It takes time until this is part of the total process. But in my view, this will happen in the coming years. I mean, like any evolution, if you think about e-ticketing, I mean, it took years to really be implemented in the industry, and all the evolutions take time. But at the end, as this is going to really represent a value added for the traveler, we feel this will be part of the core stream of the distribution channel.
Okay. Now, obviously, NDC isn't the only challenge. It does highlight other issues for airlines. Where does the money come from to fund progress for the airlines? You know, you're a big quoted company. You talked about your investment. But Michael O'Leary said recently that European aviation is financially broken. So where's the money going to come from?
I mean, look, the airlines have their own, their own challenges, of course, because the competition. I think they are coming out of this crisis of COVID in a stronger way. I mean, with the demand that we have seen. And again, this is an industry where technology is needed. Of course, we will be very close to them to support their needs on the technology front. And being able to have an industry that is providing the right service and is profitable in the future. You have all kinds of airlines in the world, and despite the fact that some airlines are doing better than others, if you see the number of airlines worldwide, the numbers are not decreasing, and that means that at the end, people are opening new airlines around the world. I mean, of course, some countries, especially in Asia, when you have population traveling more, is where you have new airlines being created. But overall, this is an industry that is key to operate, and hopefully will have a good financial, a healthy financial situation in the years to come.
And do you think Europe can get back to a more healthy financial situation?
Of course, yes. I mean, if you see the results, and again, I'm not managing an airline,
No.
and it's a
Would you like
tough
to?
job. No, I have enough with my current job, so it's not, and it's something difficult. But yes, I mean, they are doing much better than they were doing in the last years. Of course, COVID had a huge impact also in our case. And now getting out of COVID, we are enjoying the current demand, and the airlines are also doing so.
And Michael O'Leary's also said that he wants to fly 300 million passengers by 2034. It's 172 million now. And they're just back in Amadeus, which is good news. So that kind of growth, is that sustainable? Does that mean he pulls from somewhere else? Or is it going to be new people flying around?
I think it's sustainable. If you see the demand of orders that are planned to really be given in the industry and the projections of traffic for the next 10 years, the figures are not very different from what we have seen in the past. So there are a lot of demand. I mean, again, as I mentioned before, it depends on different countries. But no, this is sustainable. The people's willingness of travel is there. And we have seen now during these months. And I don't see any reason why things cannot keep growing. Of course, we need to manage this demand and see how this is sustainable in the future. But apart from that, the willingness of travel, the growth of some countries, the fact that some people are getting, some countries are getting more into, acquisition power that allows them to travel is there. And when we see again the order of planes of some of the airlines, I mean, are really, really big.
What role just can Amadeus play in the wider sustainability discussion?
I mean, sustainability is a very complex matter. We try to do our piece in different ways. I mean, one is internally. We have already, we are carbon neutral in our data center, and we try to really do our internal homework with green IT and trying to do our best there. With the customers, we provide them solutions to really have indicators on the CO2, to really be more transparent. Some of the solutions that we provide from a technology point of view allow better load and balance, better ways of dealing with that, and then we collaborate with the industry overall, because this is not something that is going to be solved by one company or by the technology. It's a journey where the different players need to work together, and therefore it's an industry challenge where we all need to move into a direction. But I would say it's a journey where we need to work together. Yeah.
Now, you did talk in your Q1 earnings of airline distribution revenue still being down versus 2019. So what does it take to get it back over the line? I mean, especially in light of moves to rail in France, for example.
I mean, again, one of the main reasons why traffic has been moving faster than bookings had to do with the mix. The fact that the main recovery at the beginning were in the area of leisure and domestic, which is less intermediated than what we see in the overall traffic. And that means that people like Ryanair or some of the low-cost carriers have been growing and recovering faster than more the full-service carriers, and therefore this has had an impact. However, as we see the recovery of international traffic and we see the recovery of business travel, of course, this should have a positive impact in the overall volumes of bookings, and therefore we should be able to really catch up what leisure has done, and business travel should come at the same level and recover the figures of 2019. You mentioned about rail. Yes, there is some short haul that is being replaced with rail, especially in Europe. Of course, this has an impact in terms of volume. However, this is not so significant overall. I mean, we are not talking about big numbers. We are talking about some numbers that already were part of a slow movement, being disintermediated to the direct channel of the airlines and now to rail. But overall, we are not talking about very, very significant figures, and it's very limited to some specific parts of the world today.
Sure. But I mean, I suppose we've got to presume that it will grow in number, move to more ground transport. So how important is it strategically for Amadeus to grow other segments of the business?
I mean, it is. As you know, we have been investing in many areas. We are present in the whole value chain today, and we are present in hospitality today. Airports, rail is part of our business. We have been distributing rail for many, many, many years. So the whole combination of air, rail, whatever happens in hotels, airports, has been part of our investment and will continue being so. I mean, we cover the travel overall, the different verticals, and try to really connect the verticals between them to really have a better travel experience. And therefore, the investment in these verticals will continue. And for us, it's fundamental to really cover travel, whatever happens, and in the different channels, both direct and indirect, and then, well, with the different players of the travel industry.
And pre-pandemic, you made quite a few acquisitions in hospitality, some around airports, some around business travel. Do you anticipate more? And, you know, because now might be a good time.
The answer is yes. Acquisitions have always been part of our growth and our logic as a company. We do many things organically, internally in the company, and we will keep doing so. But we cannot do everything ourselves, and therefore finding companies such as TravelClick or Newmarket that we acquired to strengthen our hospitality business, or as you mentioned, some add-ons that can complement our portfolio of solutions, is part of our strategy. I mean, as far as it complements what we have, as it is in the core of what we do. Mainly, we are looking for, you know, talent in other companies, technology that can complement the technology that we have today, or customer presence. And in some cases, especially in hospitality, we have the different elements were part of the acquisition, and it has been fundamental to grow our business. However, I mean, if we think about hospitality, the core of what we have done, which is the reservation model, has been done in-house, which is part of our expertise and part of the assets that we have, but everything around we have acquired to complement this offer. So moving forward, you're right, we'll keep doing that. We review opportunities, and if we find the right target at the right price,
always.
Of course, and where we can generate value, yes, it's part of that. I would say, look, organic growth, partnerships, and acquisitions are three elements that we consider continuously as we move forward the company.
Okay. Now, beyond kind of sustainability and wider CSR, do you feel a wider responsibility of being president and CEO of Amadeus? And in fact, do you have a wider responsibility in travel, you know, with a significant market capitalization? What are the sort of challenges and pressures that brings to you?
I mean, of course, I feel a lot of responsibility of managing a company like Amadeus and the solutions we provide to the industry that are very critical to travel overall. We are not the only one, but we play an important role there. we have challenges every day. I mean, this is a business that requires a lot of evolution, that is facing a lot of challenges, and COVID was a clear proof of that. Moving people is not an easy task, and therefore we need to be up to date, we need to really provide the right service, we need to incorporate the latest technologies. Travel has been one of the segments and one of the industries that was moving faster to the online world, where many sales were done very quickly online when internet became, the norm in the world. So this is an industry that has been able to adapt, and of course, as a company, our challenge is to be always relevant to the customers and being adapting ourselves to really be part of the chain. So as we grow, yes, we try to grow and we try to cover more in this industry, and therefore, yes, our role may become more relevant and our responsibility will become bigger.
And as you grow, and have you faced kind of increasing, perhaps scrutiny from regulators?
We have been a regulated company for a long time. I mean, the GDSs were regulated, and we are still regulated, especially in Europe, not in other parts of the world. But yes, I mean, of course, regulation, when we talk about, data, when we talk about the role of the GDSs, all that is an ongoing part of the company dialogue with regulators around the world. So this is not something new to us, and of course, is part of our agenda.
And when you look at your markup, and you say, look at a markup of one of the big OTAs, do you think, I'd like to be there?
I mean, look, we try to do our best as a company. We have enough challenges, enough work. I try not to look into the others. Okay, everyone is trying to do their homework and their job. So for us, what is important is to work in what we control. And there are some things that are out of our control, and COVID was one of them, of those. But there are many things we can control and we can do better. And if we do that and we are able to really deliver and be relevant, that will generate growth, and at the end will generate value for the different stakeholders. Okay? And in this case also for the people investing in the company, and hopefully will be reflected in the value of the company.
The theme of our conference is Titans and Trailblazers. What advice do you have as a Titan for trailblazers out there?
I'm sorry?
Trailblazers, so startups.
I mean, look, you need to be relevant. You need to find your spot. You need to be innovative. That's always the challenge we have when the company becomes bigger. The startups, of course, have the big advantage of being smaller and can be more agile, and the big corporations have the financial capabilities and the knowledge that probably the startups are missing. But at the same time, if they are agile and they bring, good ideas that are innovative to the market, I believe there are always opportunities. And then, of course, I will say, look, if they can collaborate with other companies, we have ourselves, we created a venture fund, and we have investments today in 15 companies, startups, where we try to really add our value, but also learn from them. So this collaboration between big and small companies, I believe, has a value. So I will say, look, be bold, be innovative, and try to collaborate with others if you are not able to really fix everything yourself.
Very good. And as we end here, you've been in your current role for more than 12 years, actually, I think.
Yes.
Is there anything you still want to achieve? Oh, don't worry, we don't want you to go anywhere, but...
Yeah, of course I want to achieve, yes. I mean, that's the motivation that anyone, I'm sure, in the room has, okay? Every morning you want to achieve something. And there are many things, many challenges, many projects, many customers we need to deliver, many customers we would like to get on board and keep the company growing and keep the company generating jobs and creating value. So there are, every single day, I mean, there are things happening in the company that, in my case, motivates me to really keep going.
And if and when you decide to step away from Amadeus, what would you like your legacy to be?
Well, it's what I said. Mainly that the company, okay, is better than when I joined.
Took it up, yeah.
And the company has a future. I wouldn't like to leave the company, one day and see a deterioration. Not at all. That you prepare, the future of the company once you leave, and that mainly the company has grown, evolved in a positive way. And I always think that, things need to stay, which is not easy to stay very long for any organization, any person that is in a position. But I believe that's something that can stay and not be, up and down.
Stability.
is a goal. So in my case, I would love to really leave the company with a prospect of future, a prospect of growth.
Luis Maroto, President CEO of Amadeus, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks to you. Thank you.